Thanks for that, Robert, and thank you to all our guest speakers for your presentation. So like Robert said, we are going to go to the Q&A. We've had a couple come through. Melanie has answered the first one, so we'll just see if anyone else has anything else to add to it. So the question was, what would be some advice you'd give to graduates looking for a job in this sector currently? So Melanie has said, you know, professional online profile on LinkedIn, make connections and follow what people in the industry are doing. It's a really supportive industry and connections and building relationships are key. And obviously follow cybersecurity podcasts and YouTube channels as well. So has anyone got anything else to add to that?
What I'd say is if you are successful and you get to an interview stage, do your homework on the organisation, because you can relate some of the answers to some of the things that the organisation is working on. And in the interview as well, try and sell yourself, not just your degree. So you've got to remember, when you're doing a degree, you're going to be working to deadlines with assignments. You're going to be working more than one assignment, so that means you can manage your workload. You're going to be working you're going to have group projects, so it's going to show you can work independently and with a group, and you can communicate with people who you don't know. So try and pick up skills that you've picked up in your degree, and when you get interviewed, come and show these skills that I picked these. I've not just studied, but I've picked these skills up as well while I've been at university, because these skills you'll need for some roles.
And I think from my perspective as well, is when we're looking for consultants to come and join the organisation, whilst we don't specifically put a requirement on to have those certifications or qualifications that you might have all heard about, like Masters in Information Security or CISP, which is a professional one, we're looking for years of experience. Now, if that experience isn't there, then it's more about how you have progressed on your out of work or different industry experiences to where it's coming from. So if you have done any online training, or you have promoted yourself or on any of the free courses, it's being able to highlight those, because that's showing in effect the skills that we're looking for, which is that inquisitive mind, that willingness to adapt and develop yourself. Because as I said before, that technologies are constantly developing. You know, in effect, if somebody comes to me and says, I have got a certification in Cisco for a firewall configuration, that's great, don't get me wrong, but that's one set area, and I want a bit more than that. I want to see that you are taking it on board yourself.
So I'd say get involved. I have to say, join CSEC, get involved with other community interests like Melanie and the Yorkshire Cyber Cluster, equivalent over on our side of the Pennines, but get involved in the industry. It's time and interest. Now, if you're going into a technical role and professing technical skills, well, do you pull your PC to pieces of an evening and make it better? Do you research things? And I don't mean going off and attacking companies. You'll get in trouble for that. There might be some people who recruit you, but some of us will be a bit cautious of it. But you know, there's a lot of online learning that you can do. There's a very respected organisation. It's called SANS. And somebody forwarded me a link this morning that was actually looking at threat intel. It seems to be a theme, because that was the job I said you could do as an apprentice or as an experienced person. But they're offering, I think it's in January 20th, 21st, somewhere. It's a Thursday, Friday in January. 3 online courses. Go and sign up for this stuff. Do it and be able to talk about how you did it and how you found it to a potential employer. Natalie.
Thank you all for your input. That's some really good points there. So moving on to the next one. So would you be able to highlight specific base technical skills that would help for a cybersecurity role? I think this came up during yours, John.
Okay, so I come from a network background, so I have to say, where I was working, you have to know how the technology works. Robert said, you know, individual qualifications, you know, maybe Cisco or whatever, and I'm involved in Cisco on setting standards, something called the CCIE Council. So that's looking at, you know, what subjects people need to study and be certified in going forward to make them employable and relevant to the industry. But what technical skills? So anything, network, compute. Be careful how you learn. Don't just learn how to button click a supplier. Go for something where it's teaching you about the underlying network, and the supplier is just the vehicle that you get it to work. So at the moment, I would have to say your cloud skills, which you can learn for nothing. So pretty certain you can sign up for an AWS test account for a year and you get a little bit of credit. Pretty certain the same is applicable to Google. I'm not too sure about Azure, but cloud skills are important. If I was going technical, I'd go cloud skills. That's it.
Yeah, I think, I mean, just to support what John's saying, it's cloud is very much the fashionable thing at the moment. I have seen those free training courses offered by the providers, and they're good. I mean, if you are looking for a technical qualification, given the fact that the majority of companies are now transitioning to the cloud, that is a good core skill to have. I think the only thing I would put a caveat on there is that, again, it's that technology that's constantly changing. The likes of one of the roles that are coming out quite often at the moment are the Microsoft Azure based skills that, you know, they completely turned one of the auditing markets on its head by offering free products with its services. So keeping up to date will be, it's like a dog chasing its own tail. It is constantly going now, but getting the basics of the cloud, how it operates, how it functions, and using those free training courses would be my recommendation at this moment in time.
Okay, thank you both for that. Hopefully that answers the question. So we're going to go through the next three really quickly because we're just running out of time. So the next one is, could you tell us more about how the pandemic has exacerbated the need for cyber skills, and do you expect the pattern to continue?
So I'll answer that one from a non-technical perspective. I don't know if the others. So a lot of the COVID has impacted everybody's working days, working life, etc. So I'm working at home at the moment. You know, I'm not allowed to go into the office, and going to my customers' sites is a lot more difficult. But that doesn't impact the information that I need to have and to process. Now, if that's sensitive or if there's personal information that you do on a day-to-day basis, yes, there are different thoughts that need to be taken into account. And I think the skills of the people, so the being aware that, you know, you might have children running around looking at your screen whilst you're looking at personal data and things like that has certainly impacted where you are and what you're doing. So from a skill side of things, it's just that awareness, that bigger picture that, yes, it has impacted your working day, but actually for normal users, that's impacted what information and how they should operate at home. And it should translate that into your new working practices.
Yeah, from a user perspective, done both. It's sort of advanced cybersecurity so much more. What we are doing now, from being able to work remotely and have more secure systems, is phenomenally further advanced than it would have been had it not happened. It's forced the industry to really look about home mobile working, because it was an element of a policy that was a relatively small element, and now all of us are doing it. So everybody's reviewing their working from home policy and making sure that the devices people are working on are much more secure. From a personal perspective, there is an increased risk because there is less filters around you to protect you from some of that information. So there's a lot more phishing and fraudulent scams out there about COVID, that are targeting you, and you don't have your colleagues next to you to be able to raise that question of, is this a bit suspicious and a bit dodgy? There's also an argument to be said that actually we tend to let our guards down when we're at home because we're a little bit more relaxed, so we might not be as vigilant in the home environment as we were when we're in the working environment. Another element of it is the fact that actually we're mixing up, because we don't quite have the right technology, our work and our play, which means, our device has got our personal emails on plus our work emails, and therefore is our attack surface a little bit bigger. And my advice for that is try and keep everything in boxes. Keep work, play, and basically reduce that vulnerability attack surface. But yeah, there's more threats, there's more dangers, but from an advancement point of view, we are a lot more on it, and a lot more savvy and ready for these threats when they do come.
Yeah, so just to echo that change, the people are saying that we progressed multiple years, 5 years in a matter of weeks and months. So we saw organisations run to the cloud. We saw organisations run to working at home, and that presented different threats. And did it create extra jobs, extra skills requirement? It required that change in learning, that I was going to say, if you were prepared for your continuous learning, it was like, oh my God, I've got to apply these skills, rather than something that it created just as part of the as part of the pandemic.
Thank you for that. So we've got two more just quickly. To what extent is the idea myth of movie style hacking true in a cyber security role?
Absolute load of cobblers. It's absolutely, it really, well, you sit at your console and you get into something within 30 seconds. Maybe if somebody's really bad, but the guys who do penetration testing might spend weeks researching a company and then doing the technical attack. So in that respect, no, they do it at about like warp speed. But the real threat, how you get into companies, is I've got a thing about my sock at the moment, and I literally mean the sock on my foot, because I created a LinkedIn profile, and that's the profile picture, and the person has been working at woolen manufacturers, been here, there, and the other, and people are making friends with him. In fact, he was offered. I'm waiting for him to be offered a job, and I'm waiting to be able to see if I can offer people roles and use that to socially engineer the way into way in somewhere. So it's not just on the console in 30 seconds. It's human behaviour, and there's a lot of preparation to do the technical.
I think so. Just I think there's two images of hackers that you'll have. You've got the sort of the people who are sitting there working late at night with their hoodie up and sort of attacking it, and then you've got what we call in the industry script kiddies that are just using material that they found on the internet to do attacks, etc. The only thing I would say is that Hollywood, etc., has got a bit of an artistic license on this. I mean, yes, hackers do exist and they are out there and they will try and get it. However, the other side of it is that there are big professional, inverted commas, organizations where they've got tower blocks in certain other countries, without naming names, that have got full units that are out there and their sole focus is to attack. So they, for me, are more concerning rather than the individuals, but you've still got to put the same defences up to protect yourself and your organisation from whether it's the organised teams or the people who are sort of attacking you as on an individual basis. So yes, I would say yes, there is an artistic bit, because to be fair and echoing John's point, it would make very boring TV or films if you showed exactly how long it took to actually look at and try and attack organisation.
And I don't think it really matters what the picture looks like, because you never get to see who the real face behind the attack is anyway. And that real face behind the attack could be, you know, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a wife that you've upset as much as your sister, brother, or whoever else. So what you do in your online behaviour can you know, anybody can get into your systems at any point if you don't have good cyber hygiene. So I think the point is that that face is irrelevant, because nobody gets to see the true individual behind an online persona. And I think that's the thing we always need to be mindful of, is who the person that's talking to me are who they say they are, is what I'm trying to get at. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. So our last question is, what is the most valuable hard skill, so technology, programming language, that you would recommend to focus on learning to maximise chances of landing a graduate job?
Blimey, there isn't one. However, I'll tell you what I'm learning, and this is somebody who's 30 odd years into a career and 20 in IT. Python and interacting with systems via APIs. Automation is the thing of the moment. Doing more with less. We've got a cyber skills shortage. You know, let's empower the people. Let's do more through automation so that the people can concentrate on what people are good at, not doing base jobs.
I think so. I'm not avoiding that question. However, I'm not going to answer it properly. So I do not think there is one specific language that you can sort of recommend and say that this is an entry into the cybersecurity career. For me, if I were sort of employing new people or people coming into the industry for the first time, I'd want to see that they'd actually gone out and they understand the core concepts. It's very well and good being able to say you can program in X language, but if you can tell me in English how a firewall works, so no technical jargon, you know, just to say that these are the controls, this is what you would put in place, without mentioning port numbers or firewall rules or whatever. It's, I think, that core understanding of the concepts which are readily available. You can pick up that information, again, either through research on Google or through some of the sort of free online courses. It gives you that concept information.
For me, I would say ONSINT, open source intelligence, and psychology, because actually what you really need to do first is get that job. And if you can hack the human and you can do your research and do your research really, really well, then actually to find out as much as you can about the individual interviewing you, as much as you can about the company that you're going for, then what you're going to do is actually you're manipulating or working the emotions of the person that's interviewing you, and actually that is what, creating a relationship and a bond between yourself and the person that's interviewing you is probably the best thing you can do, because your chances are far higher of getting that job. So for me, it would be securing that human and doing that hacking of the human.
Okay, thank you everyone for your answers, and thank you to everyone for your questions. I think that's all we've got today. Obviously, if you want to connect with our speakers on LinkedIn, their names are there on the screen now, so follow them and make sure if you have any more questions, you know, drop them a message, they'll be able to answer them for you. Obviously, if you want to keep in the loop with CSP, follow them on LinkedIn and Twitter, so you can keep on track with all our announcements, our news and top tips and advice. We're also going to be recommending some training courses, so please keep in touch. So remember to save our email address, which is there on the screen, and obviously on LinkedIn we'll push out anything there as well. So thank you very much to our speakers again, and everyone who has attended. We really hope you took something away from this and that you enjoyed the event. So thank you.
Thank you all.